Hello, lovely Cancers, and how are you doing? So this is the March 2025 horoscope. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit better now. Mars is direct in Cancer and it's not retrograding. Luckily, Mars is not going to be retrograding for quite some time now, actually not until 2027. And that was probably one of the worst retrogrades we've had in quite a while. So we've survived it, we're okay, although it brought on a very unmotivational energy and made some of us very passive aggressive and very frustrated. So Cancer, this is going to be, I'd like to say this is going to be a better month, but it's actually not. It's very intense. There's nothing to be afraid of, but it is quite intense and there is a lot going on. There will be specific transits that are very important to the world that I will talk about, but I want to say that I won't be giving them too much detail because I'll be doing them in a separate video. For example, when Neptune ingresses into Aries on March the 30th, this is really important for the world, and I think it deserves its own video in its own series actually, so I'll only touch upon it. I won't actually talk about it in detail, so forgive me for that. But let's get into what March holds for you, Cancer. So March the 1st, we have a Venus retrograde in Aries in your 10th house of career. So Venus retrograde often makes us think about relationships. So it's sometimes weird to have it in the house of career. But actually the 10th house can also pertain to parents or taking on a responsibility role. So this could also be you reevaluating your role as a parent. Or your role as a child to a parent. So for example, if you have parents that are getting old or in more ill health, you might be thinking about them a little bit more. Or for example, you are thinking about your own time as a parent. You might be reevaluating things when it comes to retirement as well and what you actually want from your relationships. Do you want connections with children and parents in the way that you thought you did? And also this can be, reflective of how you want to appear to the public, to the world. What are your goals when it comes to how people see you and how people perceive you? So that's quite an important thing that's happening. Then on the 3rd, Mercury will be entering Aries again in that 10th house. So this is about how we communicate, and Mercury is doing a lot better in Aries than it is in Pisces because we can actually get our words out a bit more. But it is also a little bit charged and very heat of the moment. You say things a little bit too quickly, or you're like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Especially when it comes to that 10th house of saying something to a parent, you're like, you have judged me since I was a child, I'm not having it. Or you feel like you are getting really annoyed at a child that is just doing things in a very sort of reckless way, and you're like, I want to help, but I feel like I'm coming across as tough love here. So Mercury and Aries can be a little bit difficult in that regard for you, Cancer, in that 10th house. Then from the 14th to 28th of March, we have a Mercury retrograde in Aries, again in the 10th house. So Mercury retrograde brings about communication issues, delays, issues with travel and technology. And in Aries as well, this could also be issues with health and sport as well. So you might find that you're not able to exercise for whatever reason, or there is something to do with parents and physical health as well. I'm not going to say there's something bad there, but it might be just some kind of issue linked to that as well, that causes delays and issues as well. On March the 27th, Venus will be retrograding in Pisces in your 9th house of study, travel and spirituality. So you might be thinking more about what you want from a partner and your relationships when it comes to, the spiritual nature of it all. When you have a conversation with somebody that's philosophical, it's not just, hey, how's the weather, or having a purely physical relationship. You're like, I want to have a connection with somebody that feels authentic and true to me. And with that Pisces energy as well, that's very dreamy, and it's also, very spiritual as well. I think that goes really well together. So you're thinking more about your commitments, maybe thinking, I don't really want that to be superficial anymore. Then on March the 29th, we have a Mercury retrograde again, but this time in Pisces, and that will actually be in your 9th house of spirituality, travel, philosophy and studying. So this could also be, having delays with travel. When you have a Mercury retrograde in the 9th house of travel, don't be taking a flight anywhere, right? If you can avoid it. Don't be taking a train that's like the last train and then you can't get anywhere after that. Like, just be very careful about traveling. Be very careful about studying as well. If you are submitting an exam or assignment, please don't leave it to the last minute, especially because your computer might just break, or you're not able to do something because the platform doesn't work for you. So just be very careful with those instances. Then on March the 14th, have a Virgo lunar eclipse in the 3rd house. So this is letting go of perfectionistic tendency with communication, especially because this lunar eclipse is very close proximity to the South Node in Virgo, which often deals with letting go of things that don't serve us, but also with that Virgo nature, very sort of detailed, perfectionistic energy with that third house. Oh, there's detail there. So you might be letting go of a way of communication, a way of thinking around productivity, like a laziness. You could be ending a writing project, for example, maybe to do with studying, and then moving on to something else, or reinventing a brand or a social media page. You also could be traveling more than usual because of this strong Pisces concentration this month in that 9th house, although like I've said, on the 29th onwards, I just wouldn't be doing that. But you definitely could be planning a trip, for example, in the future. You could be choosing to study something, or then maybe having to organise your productivity around that. So it's like, well, I'm working from 9 to 5, but I'm having to study from like 5 to 8. And so I need to sort my routine out. Then on the 29th of March, you have an Aries solar eclipse in your 10th house. So this is a new work project, a new career, especially with that Aries energy of focusing on leadership and being brave. You're really putting yourself out here, to be honest, or you could be dealing with, as I mentioned before, a parent, or having to support a parent. Some of you could be focused on, savings, having a new plan for work and retirement and that kind of thing as well, if it's not just your career. Some people are very happy in their careers, they don't want to do something new, so they might be thinking about the future instead. Then on the 30th of March, Neptune will ingress into Aries in the 10th house for you. So like I said, I'm going to do a different video on this completely because it deserves that. But Neptune is the planet of spirituality. It's larger than life. It is it's really the governing outer planet of, the way that we think as a collective subconscious, I think. And Neptune being in Pisces since 2011 has really awoken us to the truth. You see more than ever now people saying, it doesn't add up. 2 is equaling 5. What's going on? And really thinking that there is more to life than this. That word, the matrix, got thrown around so much. And Neptune in Pisces really does that. It brings about vivid dreams and visions as well. But Neptune in Aries is much more about, I hate to use the word civil war, but it kind of is. It's more about, okay, so we understand these problems with our society. We understand the problems with our collective subconscious. What the hell are we going to do about it? Aries is going to really push that onwards. And, in that 10th house as well, this for you is definitely thinking about the way that you work with your career, thinking this doesn't seem right. I specifically always feel with Neptune in the 10th house, it's like, well, why have I got to work for 70 years and then I have to get to retire for 5 years and I'm dead? It's like, this doesn't add up. I don't like this. So you definitely could be thinking more about your retirement and work when Neptune ingresses into Aries. And I think a lot of people will be as well as a society, but specifically for you, Cancer, you're thinking more about that, I think. So March is quite busy for you. Again, Mars is direct now, so it's a little bit better, although it's still in Cancer, which is its full, so it still doesn't do well, but is a little bit better. We do have 2 retrogrades happening as well at the same time, a Venus retrograde and a Mercury retrograde, which will also bring some issues. But you know what? This is nothing we can't handle. We have the tools to deal with this. This is not our first rodeo. We've done a Venus retrograde before. We've done a Mercury retrograde before. We'll be absolutely fine. But please do comment and let me know, what plans have you got for the month? Does this resonate? What are you thinking about? What this all means for the world and for yourself as well. And hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll move on to Leo.